everything. We saw at least some adaptations coming through on trying to stop it late offensively, but then the rest of the teams, the snipers, Rasmo specifically inside of American, became a problem. And then that was a continuation once the sides inevitably swapped. The only time where you really did feel like that there was any sort of dominance coming through from LG on the defense was when Raph pulled out the shotgun and he got inside a corner. But then the following round, to your point, you almost feel like that he can't find this a similar value without getting too egregious with his positioning.
Yep.
That it was just easy days from there on out for Animus just to continue to play their game.
It's just like, this is like a search and destroy 101. If ever you see an aggressive smoke thrown at you, you have to throw a stun into it.
Yeah.
It's not to necessarily get the status effects on the player pushing. It's just to know there's a player pushing. It's an information game. And it's, I mean, again, it's something that we've seen Shark do for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And it just still, either whether about neglect or just ignorance, just keeps getting ignored. And the thing about it is, if he keeps throwing the same smoke and you stun him, or you just throw a stun that doesn't land or does, that gives you the information of, oh, Shark's in there, so now we know we can play passive and try to bait him into an isolated moment, or he's not in that smoke, so we know he's playing an LMG deeper into sight. Like, it's just, that's so clear cut. It gives you so much early intention if you just throw one piece of utility.
I mean, we also talk about it in respawns when it's, say, you pop a Sparrow, I respond with an equalizer should I be inside the hard play. It is always a resource trade and information trade soon after. So important in Search and Destroy. And although Shark went 6 at 8, it's also the 4 assists that they found along the way and the influence that they had on the map to set up Rasmo continuously, playing these longer lines of sight with the sniper. Just had to have the right angle and the right crosshair placement, which more often than not he did. So yeah, very good for Animus. That now extends this to a map number 3.
Indeed. And if you need more energy to get yourself through the long day today, unleash the beast. MonsterGaming.com. Get there. Or maybe monster.com/gaming. Maybe both. Arsenal coming up. We've unleashed the beast up here. Tell you what.
We have.
We've cracked a couple of monsties.
It's actually my second.
Is it actually?
It's a very high caffeine day.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. It's a very high octane day.
It is. Lots of games. Lots of COD. Lots of Call of Duty Mobile to be played, and this series is not done yet. Again, if you lose this series for LG or Animus, it is not the end of your tournament. You will go 1 and 2, and then you get one last chance to extend your tournament in the Swiss. You win this one step closer to getting towards that single elimination championship bracket, and Arsenal is, as I was talking about when we had Lauren up here, a toss-up, because it is only the data that we have from their region. It was like 4-0 for LG, 5-0 for Animus. They do have a lot of reps on the map, but realistically speaking, because of the way that Arsenal on a control does play, so dependent on the break-off, surely, but once you do find those kills, those spawn traps are just annoying.
Yeah, big time. You also got to keep in mind, I said this around this point last year in the stage, the Swiss stage, NA was down bad. You drop LG to a 1 and 2 status with Tribe fighting for their lives against a Vitality squad in their 1 and 1 matchup.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, NA could be down just as bad as, well, they were last year. Feels like we've got our pretty clear-cut top 4 at this moment in time.
I don't like
maybe
to count chickens before they hatch, but you're not.
Yeah. I said the only other thing would be like maybe Stalwart is showing us something, but we'll take a look into some of our other streams as we're still getting ready for the Arsenal here. This is our C stream.
Everybody's having a
and we find ourselves on Tunisia between Stalwart and Elevate.
On the market, as I say his name. FDX.
And we'll let the
Have
casters
to take yell on that one. Scared finding
take you away for
PJ,
this
but
one.
that's all over. It's a equalizer, courtesy of Stalwart. Let's go to overtime, baby.
What a better way to end this one. I beg we see a game 3 here, AJ, but we've seen this matchup so many times.
All right, so 6-6 the count here as we jump into an overtime situation between these two Garena squads. Again, very well rehearsed versus one another. Just comes down to, again, who could find this edge. Elevate would love to be able to, again, just rue the day that they are even looked at as slightly vulnerable. Again, this is another qualification match. Both these teams at 2-0.
Yeah, Stalwart needing the Search and Destroy just to extend it to a map number 3. Elevate were able to take that map 1. I had a lot of eyes on what this Elevate team is going to do here. The consistency in between CDSI and their lower bracket run is everything that everybody wants to be in a tournament format. Though, first blood, much like how we saw earlier from Elevate, still very good.
And that's one of those moments where, like, you allow Susano to get that far forward. He's got such an easy exit back, so it's free. And now Kendi's trying to do the same thing on the other side of the map. Now, Stalwart's going to be aware that this is a possibility. Just comes down to will they actually catch the angle, because Kendi is hugging this wall, but up and over should be a freebie, and it is. So an early trade back. Now all of a sudden the defense has to worry about, hey, we haven't seen anything at B. Could this be an A hit?
Late stun through mid, not going to connect with anything whatsoever. And still just struggling to find some information. And Stalwart try to maneuver their way just outside of the winery. They got a player in a position to maybe try to work a little bit of bait, but the bomb is late on this rotation. 28 seconds remain.
FDX trying to clear things out from the front. Then they will find the opening. Okay, PJ drops, only taking one with him. Defense quickly on the rotation over with 15 seconds to play with. This has to be a commitment for the bomb plant. EG's playing forward. Yeah, he's going to get a little bit caught here, or is he? He finds Zopi on the mantle. Decent response for Susano, but the bomb does get planted. So we go 2v2. Klo over the top. That's clean. Almost able to snap onto the second, but Klo gets caught on the reload. That's enough for Elevate to take the edge of the OT.
The massive momentum going in towards the defense, which is how good the sniping from Susano has been on this Friday afternoon. Again, you are now one round away for Elevate, being only the second team to make it towards the championship bracket. Again, we saw X-Rock 2-0 Wolves unceremoniously not too long ago. You'd expect Elevate to make it towards the single elimination bracket as to take down one of their fellow region teams along the way.
Yeah, lots of nades being thrown from Elevate immediately into the A site. There is a deep smoke here. Susano also helping open up the site with a late stun. PJ in the corner trying to clear things out. Bottom side winery. Geeson trades coming out, and Oscar is not quite able to lock down the shots at range. Elevate with the numbers. And well, it's his last chance saloon here. 1v4 situation. Everyone knows where the last member is, and no worries there. Elevate clean through the overtime, win it 8-6, and they will 2-0 their regional counterparts and make their way into tomorrow's bracket as one of the top 2 seeds.
We'll say this much. I mean, that, albeit an unfortunate loss for Stalwart, you're still going to be feeling pretty darn good about yourself, just keeping that search and destroy as close as they did. I'm not too sure what the scoreline was in their map number 1, but regardless, playing Elevate that close, especially off of recency, you got to be feeling pretty darn good about that. It's only their first loss, so still plenty more COD left to be played.
Absolutely the case. And I will say, I think just kind of like we weren't really sure what the expectations were going to look like for Stalwart. They've done well to this point.
Yeah, they have.
Obviously, they're 2-0. It's easy to say, but
and they do with both the teams that we have on our main stage.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's definitely some things to keep in mind as they will drop to the 2-1 bracket. They're going to have nothing but qualification games the rest of the way, whether they do it in the next round or the one afterwards. So some freedom, some buffer after the hot start, but the bracket only gets more difficult as teams continue to eliminate each other.
That's how things go sometimes.
That's how brackets work, yeah.
It's quite literally the point of a bracket, yeah.
Correct, yeah. The worst teams get eliminated, better teams move on. It's, yeah.
Wow. You're so good at that.
I don't know, whoever cooked up the first bracket, genius.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's like making the first beef Wellington, but for like brackets. It's amazing. I'm hungry. Sorry, I'm hungry.
Fair, okay. Here we go. On to the Control at Arsenal in our feature matchup, Unanimous and LG. Again, both teams have really enjoyed playing this map, and they both have found flawless success inside their regions. But the opening it towards A for LG, good. Even better that they get some top window control here. Follow up from Rasmo, fighting back. That's not bad as he finds 2 with the machine pistol. Just when he thought LG was going to get a free first tick, it's immediately responded by Animus' defense.
A lot of people have heard me talk about Control, but it might be a broken record to some, but it is so true on Arsenal. So break-off dependent, but it honestly, a round could end as it starts, but nice trades to at least come through. Still trying to jostle for position, maybe over towards this B. Control zone, Cartels, 1v1 inside of the lounge has to favor the reload, but still holding the space is very difficult to try to combat it back from. You want the statue, but cannot hold no longer.
This is interesting. Raph is just kind of hanging out at mid, making sure the pitch stays safe. Curious, to say the least. And that's going to be enough for Animus to just respond to the play over towards the opposite zone, clear it out, and hold the 2-life edge. There's the bait and switch. Doesn't even need to be needed as now Raph is able to find the first for free. Nark's now trying to play his life backside of the tower. Staying in the zone for some contest. And he's got help here. So again, LG, what do we got? Trying to fight pillar to pillar. Flash on one side. Odin just trying to lock down the corner, and now here's the best chance. Damage going to be tallied. First shots are good, and the follow-up is better. So now the clock will stop at 31 seconds with LG on the A zone.
13 points up against 14 again. Still very much so anybody's round, but Kings just Gives it up at the utmost wrong time. Still, clock being stalled out. 2 players strong around the A control zone. Reinforcements on the way.
Yep. Second tick looking good. Spam through the door for Jez, not gonna land. Flank on the way from Anderson. This is taking a lot of time, and they may just be chalking this. Try to get into the spawn a little bit, deal some more damage to the life count. Problem is, now you've got all of a sudden the ability just to flood through main lobby. Good crossfire setup for Animus. Enough to deal damage, slow down the play just a touch, but Raph is going to get around the back. Hunter Killer Drone now moving through, and uh-oh, we have a battle of spawn traps coming up.
Yeah, this is basically a base race when it comes down to control on Arsenal, but the biggest issue is that if more kills start to come through, what are you supposed to do if you're 1 and 3 in blue? You almost have to give it up, come down the stairs, and that's exactly what the call will at least be for Says. Will come help out his former teammates, but you still got 3 more Luminosity players in your spawn, 2 Animus players in the opposite spawn, and so far as the numbers go, Animus are coming out on top.
Well, this is Arsenal, friends.
What?
Yep. Spawn die. Spawn die.
You're running out of lives.
Here's the thing.
You're running out of lives.
There's no more spawns left now, all of a sudden, for LG. And now we got ourselves a 3v3.
Dude, what? Wait.
What? What is this?
We base race and we flip the map. The Predator missile gets called in as well. It's just information. It doesn't even find a kill.
Oh, man. It's a round of search and
Sparrows?
destroy. Sparrows are through. Oh, my goodness. This is control.
No. No, we have lost control. We have lost control. Rasmus Hunter Killer Drone's going to take down cartels. And I love this call coming out from LG. Don't chase the kill. Rasmo thinks he can win this 1v2 with the claw.
Oh, he sees the player inside the fence. Does he get the snap? Almost. But wow. I mean, that's control for you on this map. You just take away all the respawns, then you play whatever's left. It's a 3v2, 3v3.
but it's a hell of a call coming through for LG. I mean, whether they got the information or not, just to push all the way through the lobby side like you were talking about, I don't think that Animus knew that that was going to be a process for LG to try to do, but brilliant as it may be, coming down to a final 1v1 and 5 segments to boot for Luminosity.
It's my first time actually casting Arsenal control in this game. Wow.
You remember when the biggest problem that you and I had to worry about was the head glitch on the statue?
Just wow.
We've come so far.
Yeah, well, have we?
No, but we've gone places.
Animus now have the offense. Oh, mercy me. Down 2 lives early, and you've got LG starting to push up through trophy side. Now, you have also gotten Shark through on the opposite
biggest problem that you and I have,
but he's being chased by cartels who's seen him. Shots are coming out. Spawn Trap trying to get affirmed for both sides, and Shark will only find one before falling. So damage has been mitigated. Now LG control the map with only 35 seconds on the clock.
You just can't help but giggle just watching the mini-map when it comes down to Arsenal control. I mean, LG, they won the break-off. They saw one player, Shark, trying to work at the spawn trap. I was like, hey, get out of my house. Get off my lawn. And they're trying to do the same exact thing on the opposite side. But a little bit more passive is LG in their setup, not trying to cut off away from the map until they get another clean 3-4 dead. Rasmo will at least find a trace, but a very good defensive opening for LG here.
Raph, a little bit of a slide and dance with Shark, who had the gloves out. Wins it. Long-range shots from Jez also decent, but has to help out onto the zone. Raph, a little bit of trouble in towards double doors. Rasmo still getting the work done. Holy smokes, Rasmo is off to the races. Does eventually see his teammates fall, and with so, he will also drop. So now 19 plays 12, and LG looking comfortable. Just a second they have to kill off the clock.
At this point, you're just hoping to salvage anything if you are Animus. I mean, the fact that you almost got that first segment is saying a lot, but I mean, LG, in the response, continuation of what we were talking about, going back towards that standoff, you give these guys any sort of area to control, they know quite well how to take that space and then make you to have more and more less space. So one more round away for Luminosity to increase their entire lead on the day, get themselves close towards that.
Yeah, and I love this. You have Pred missiles, you have operators go to B. This is something we saw back in 2019 for Black Ops 4. You got streaks, take them to the outside point. It gives you so much freedom, so much control. And now Animus need to make a really tough choice, because you can't just play for spawn traps here. You got to get your defense going. And the second tick of progress is pretty much already gone. Kings somehow loses that battle with an Annihilator. Saves takes him out of the picture, and that's enough for Animus to regain control at B and deplete the second tick of progress.
You got one player inside your spawn, though. It's Jez. Pulls out the claw and almost loses his life. Just barely holds on, and now the spawn trap is in. Well, spawn protection, able to at least get yourself moving if you are Rasbo, but you still die. Jez is still alive in that spawn, by the way. Finds two more, and it's still going, by the way. And now you got to start wondering if you are safe. You try to do the same, it might be too late. Jez even calls in a Pred missile, will lose his life, but once the dust has settled, it's 22v19.
Yep, and that stuck to just pop the doors, use the spare to clean out the lobby. Not landing yet. Lots of shots already spent. In fact, the whole thing is gone. War Machine from deep. Also not coming up here. Eventually, Rasmo drops, but the focus from the front is still less than convincing right now for LG. There's a pinch on the way, it does get shut down. So a chance to jump on, get this second tick of progress worked on, especially now that there are 4 members still surviving for LG's offense.
And still working up that second segment. You have to contest if you are Animus while also fighting eliminations along the way, and they are doing everything possible to try to do that, plus some extra. The kills come through, the segment gets depleted. Animus are not done yet.
Not yet. A couple of operators at the ready as well. Saves for the War Machine. Rasmo has his available on top of it. Nades cooked up by Raph, all towards lobby's side. That will not land. Trophy systems in place to keep the defense safe, but Cartel sneaks through the fence. Trophy down for the offense now for LG. Trades on the point. Here comes the claw, lasting standing for Rasmo, and may have been enough. He gets a couple eliminations, but Cartel's one of the last ones surviving for LG, finds a double. Now joining him is another member, and that's going to be the second tick done with the third on the way.
Nobody's hitting around. They're all just kind of trying to rush up through the stairs, hoping that the nades find the value to get them the space up the stairs.
Well, the opening shutdown is decent. Thug off the reload, trying to hold on to these long-range headies. Tough battles over towards the top of the staircase. 11v6. And is still chewing back into this. Finds the kills they need, but it's an 8v5 with a minute 13 on the clock.
Plenty of time left to try to hold on if you are Animus. The problem is you have to play flawless, and you want to hold on to that maybe for another round, but desperation might ensue.
Yeah.
You're being flanked. Cartel's looking to work a pinch.
Yeah, tough decision that has to come through here for Cathilla, because knowing that there are no more respawns, if something looks very dicey, you may just have to make a gut check call to see another round. Cartel's around the back, has not found anybody yet. Thug has been damaged by Rasmo. That's enough to at least allow the initial trade to come through. More now from the front. 40 seconds on the clock. 7v3. Should be clear shooting for LG from here on out, especially as they cleared off the zone. There's the clock on the pause. Not sure where Shark is, but they find him. And it all rests with one. Says backside staircase. Can't get away, and LG will take a 3-0 in the control and get themselves a second win in the Swiss bracket.
Yeah, big momentum swing coming here for LG. Taking down back-to-back European teams. This one, tested firing range. Definitely need to go back and try to learn from those mistakes if you are Luminosity Gaming, but a step in the right direction to maybe try to get NA back into a brighter light of a conversation. Throughout both of the respawns that we got to see out of Luminosity Gaming, it's just fundamental science, very meticulous coming through, and then also the slays at the same time. Yep. They know just as well as some other teams that are here this weekend that how aggression does actually work and how to turn that into further map positioning and positional advantage.
Yeah, Raph and Cartels were an issue throughout both the respawns.
And Jez was consistent.
Today. Yeah,
very consistent.
Same with Thug.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just, you know, seeing Raph and I think in particular Cartels really show up for this squad is refreshing. I think just kind of across their history, they've often been looked at as kind of, part of the team, but never been kind of the stars. But here, I thought they played absolutely meticulously well. They were making all the right reads, all the right moves, and of course, a couple of just great individual moments. And, you know, you think back to Raph with the shotgun top grannies, 1v3, wins all 3. It's like moments like that that are major difference makers and completely changes the dynamic of a map.
They forced so many awkward positions and probably a lot of things that Animus were not utterly prepared for. Probably knew that it was possible playing against a very top team, let alone all of North America, but you could just tell just the stark comparisons in between the two regions in this very series.
Yeah. And it's just, again, it's Shark on firing range. It's just...
It's a staple.
It's a staple. It really is. So, really clean stuff, I think, for Animus to at least find themselves into a map number 3 situation, but the road becomes very difficult. No more mistakes going to be allowed here, sitting at 1 and 2 overall in the Swiss stage. You have to win your next 2 matches if you want to try to find a way to get Europe into that playoff bracket.
Definitely saw some polished moments there out of Luminosity and some sparks of hope as well, like you guys were mentioning on behalf of Animus. We'll have to see what they're able to do in the last few matches there when it comes to the rest of our Swiss bracket. But that's match 6 now done and dusted on the day here so far, which means I can't even imagine how more they've gotten already through in the pit. There's only 3 more here up on the main stage, so things are moving and shaking. Teams are starting to kind of figure out where they're going to fall and how much more they need to do in order to make it through to the next stage of the competition. Now, obviously, we are at the end of the match. That means we have a winner. That was, of course, Luminosity Game, if they're able to 3-0 against Animus. So F-Dot standing by on the stage to have a chat.
Hey, what's good, guys? We're here with AO Raf, and he is excited, man. Day one, you come through, you get it done. I ain't even gonna ask you a question. Just speak your mind, bro.
Honestly, we came here for a reason, and some games are good, some games are bad, but we decided to move past it and focus up. So that's what we did on the stage against Animus. So good games to them, you know?
Talk to me a little bit about the squad. Like, North America as a scene, you guys have shifted from team to team to team, but we see a lot of the same faces. What makes this iteration of the team different than other squads you've been on in the past?
One simple reason, every single person, even though Awaken is not here, Awaken Academy, every single person on the team, myself included, has a reason to continue and push forward. We've had our problems here and there, but when it comes to the boot camp, when it comes to champs, we're locked in and loaded. Simple as that. Simple as that.
I mean, you certainly sound locked and loaded, so I usually hate this question, but you sound like you have something on the brain here. Coming up next, you've got more matches. What's the vibe with the rest of the team, and how are you taking on the rest of the games?
Oh, honestly, we're not making the same mistake as last year. We realized we came in too overconfident. This year, we're staying humble, we're staying confident. We know who we're playing against. Nothing's easy. A lot of upsets will be happening. So, to the rest of the teams, my biggest advice, do not ever underestimate your opponents. Treat them the same way you treat the best competition here. Simple as that.
Simple as, simple as. Hey, congratulations on the dub, and good luck in the rest of them.
Thank you, thanks so much. Hey, to my AO fam, I love you guys so much. AO fam on top, type it in the chat right now, man, come on.
There it is, let them know, let them know. Shout out Beef Mommy, she's on the other side, gonna catch us up with some of the other streams. Thanks a lot.
You know, you're always going to get a treat if you have AO Mike on the camera. Of course, I was able to interview LG yesterday, and it seems like the energy is going to be good. Of course, they definitely needed this dub. This round number 3, we saw East versus East, West versus West, and it's looking good for the West right now as LG getting a dub. That is definitely well needed. And as well, their NA brothers, they had Supreme Team also getting very victorious 2-0 up against Ancient. So Ancient going to be in a little bit of a pickle, but again, someone that's actually not doing a West versus West. The only East versus West matchup that we actually had here was going to be Diabolus versus Exclusive, where Exclusive finally can get a breath of fresh air, delivering that very convincing 2-0, and we can thank the players like Veer that can actually step it up. And when it comes to this, it definitely gets it to the very end. Who can take it? Who can clinch the crown? Of course, it's only day number 1, but you can see behind me, we actually have a matchup that you definitely don't want to miss in round number 4. We got Vitality right here. And of course, the name that you're kind of thinking of, Vitality, Tectonic's gonna be right there. And guess who's right beside them on the next one? That's gonna be Tribe, his former teammates. You wouldn't want to miss it. Round number 4 coming up next.
What's up, I'm Kings. We're Luminosity Gaming. You're watching COD Mobile at DreamHack Atlanta.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, DHL, and the United States Air Force.
Something that you've never seen. We run like a wild machine. Watch out, 'cause we're baring our teeth, and there ain't no in-between. With fire, you're gonna get burned down to the wire. Now what did you learn? We're coming for you. You don't wanna mess with the winner. Ice so cold, make you shiver. You're looking at a cold-blooded killer. We're coming for you. It's going down. the storm. Yeah, we're way too big to ignore. We'll shake you, we'll rattle the floor. You know what we came here for. Play with the fire and then move up, burn down through the wire. Now what did you learn? We're coming for you. You don't wanna mess with the winner. Ice so cold, make you shiver. You're looking at a cold-blooded killer. We're coming for you. It's going down. You don't wanna mess with the winner. Ice so cold, make you shiver. You're looking at a cold-blooded killer. We're coming for you. It's going down.
Set fire to the cold river. Set fire, sealed and delivered. Slow burn, shot to the liver. Heart so cold, make a grown man shiver. Wake up, don't be afraid. Make love, but don't be tame. Even the king in the crown is lost soul, walking in a dead man's crowd. They try to keep us undercover, but we are about to rise up. Rise up. They wanna push us even deeper in their pockets, but their time's up. We about to rise up. Rise Everything we ever did, all the things that we ever, yeah. Everybody wanna be the same. Everybody wanna be desired. One thing we can't forget, can't see through a private light. When you got a heart of a fighter, yes, fight up even harder and higher. I'm about to rise up. Rise up. They wanna push us even deeper in their pockets, but their time's up. We about to rise up. Rise up. I keep running, 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 running. I keep running, running, running. They try to keep us undercover, but here we are about to rise up. Rise up, yeah. They wanna push us even deeper in their pockets, but their time's up. We about to rise up. Rise up. Yeah, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship here at DreamHack Atlanta. We've had a fantastic day of performances here so far on day one of our competition, moving our way through the Swiss bracket. And I know you're expecting match number 7 on the main stage, but we have a little bit of an extra treat, okay, for all of you here, both live in the arena and at home that have been following along with us here all day, because we're waiting on a couple of our teams to finish in the pit before we can get our squads up on the main stage, which means we get to go check out a pit match instead and follow along with some really big storylines that we've been talking about all day, because we're going to be watching Gallerus and Godlike fight for a spot in the bracket in this upcoming match. Let's take a look, though, at the Swiss bracket. We've had a lot happening here today to try and keep up with, whether you guys have been watching the main stage or our B, C, or D streams, where all of our matches have been happening. And so lots of teams have made their way through already, Ted.
Yeah, it's getting a bit mixy, isn't it? But for a lot of these teams, again, the same kind of applies. Win 3 before you lose 3. Some of these teams, though, are actually already eliminated. We've already had some teams already lose 3 games, so tough scenes for them, but they will still go home with some prize money. But yeah, we have some really interesting games, right?
Yeah, I think it's Diabolos have already been eliminated. They lost, I believe, 0-2 to Exclusive. I believe that has been confirmed. I think we looked at that. And the other one is Ancient Gaming, which obviously, as we saw earlier on, is not really a surprise. Again, shout out to those guys, but unfortunately, they will go down to Supreme Gaming. So we have our first eliminations. On the other side, though, we have our first teams through to bracket play, and surprise, surprise, it's X-Rock and Elevate after their respective 2-0 victories over Wolves Esports and Stalwarts Esports. Both incredible matches, by the way. The fact that we got the matchups between the 2 best Chinese teams, arguably, of course, Q9 also in that conversation, and the 2 best Garena teams, brilliant. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just day one. We've already had some potential foreshadowing and who we're going to see later on in the competition. So now we get to see what's going to happen with this next team claiming a spot in the bracket. Like we said, Gallerus versus Godlike. Let's jump into it.
Straight into it as well. I mean, this one is a super important game for both these 2 teams. These teams are ones that want to advance to that bracket play. You lose this game, you have no more opportunities to lose bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, your lifelines are kind of slowly already depleting here in the Swiss stage, and this is a massive matchup for both of these 2 teams. Again, Gallerus, you know, trying to prove to people that, hey, they should not be an underrated team. For Godlike, I mean, much really in the same spot, right, Touch, for the most part? I mean, Godlike are a team that obviously made that miracle run last year, and I think since then, I think people underestimate them.
Yeah, I think both teams are kind of in that bracket of they could threaten to win it. Do we think they will? I'm not 100% sure. That's kind of where we got both these 2
Don't
teams
say that's
right
a Godlike fans, mate.
No, well, okay. I might be getting some tweets, and some people might be saying some things in the chat, but I've too long on the tooth these days for that, Brody. I don't care. So here we are into this game. Godlike into the lead. A nice start for them over towards P1, but P2 coming up very, very shortly. You can see Glorious already on their way over. Godlike do have somebody pushing over towards this back side, though, so keep an eye on that to clear that one out. It's a nice rotation coming through. On the side of Godlike in the end, Glorious have some work to do here, Brody.
Yeah, that is a big pick against Beast. That means the back spawns will be good for Gallerus here, but what won't be good is Trunks coming through the front of the hardpoint, picking up not just 2, but 3 kills. Godlike, just as quickly as they lose control of the hardpoint, they regain it. And that's going to send spawns a little bit buck wild there. Gallerus spawning out all across the map. Now fights going on for these spawns. It is going to be Gallerus that will ascertain them, but sometimes getting up that driveway is actually kind of difficult, especially as they're going to be operators very soon to get for Godlike.
I'm having to rub my eyes at some of those spawns coming through towards the backside there. Both the teams having a battle with it. But Godlike ultimately the ones who are coming out on top. Still 30 seconds to play for here over towards the garage, and it is most of the kills going over towards Godlike. Make it now 3 coming through for Learn. Really big plays coming in for Godlike. It's been such a good start for them. P1, they got a good amount of time. P2, the majority. Even in amongst the chaos, they've done extremely well to find themselves in this position. Rotation over towards Fences in just a second, which is definitely a little mixier than what we get over towards the garage. Let's see if any team can really get some sort of control. But for Gallerus, that's 4 points on the board after 2 hills.
Yeah, and a reminder again, they did just get the rotation on towards P2 and pretty much lost it straight away, right? So just because they're over here on Fences does not mean that they will get control, and it's also worth saying that Fences, just on the whole, is a really mixy hard point. To get a wealth of time on it is pretty rare. This, of course, is the hard point where we're going to start to see some of the investment coming through from the operators as well. Neutrino, the player that Godlike didn't expect to be playing for the roster, of course. Skull Guy, unfortunately, not able to attend here at Champs once again. He's going to bring out the War Machine, but it's not going to amount to all that much. Claw instead for a Bees is good for the kill against Lucasin, and there's the follow-up from Neutrino. So Godlike, again, on the offensive against Gallerus, they're not getting much time from this hill.
Yeah, it just seemed to really be pressing the issue as much as they can. Haven't really seen too much from Gallerus. Just to be honest, in Hardpoint, I think even in that game previously, yeah, okay, we've seen them up against Tribe, but they made mincemeat of them. But other than that, when they have come up against the elite teams, it has been a bit of a struggle. But saying that, there is still plenty of Call of Duty still to be played, and they will get a little bit of control over towards that scrap time. 7 seconds remaining. They're going to pick that up for their most significant points of the game. They only had 4 by the time they got here. They'll leave them with 39.
Yeah, it's something, isn't it? You know, Gallerus, what, quadrupled, octupled? Is octupled a word? I don't know. It will make it a word, wherever it is. Whatever 8 times is, someone tweet me. That's what Gallerus have done. They've certainly expanded their scoreline here. Godlike, though, Be careful. They've already got control of Nu. Good investment of the Predator missile coming through from Fokke. That's going to give Gallerus a chance here, but you need to see some heroics from Henry Cat. That is going to be close. Operators now invested from Gallerus as well. Fokke, what damage can they do? Trunks on the other side with the Purifier. There's the equalizers from Prevail too. It's Annihilator now as well. It's Operators galore here.
Everybody investing. It felt like it was Godlike getting the better of it, but Luxion's just pulled 3 out of his back pocket. And manages to find one to help him along the way, and 25 seconds to play for still here, over towards the rock hard point. Gallerus were there. Godlike very quickly get rid of them, though. For all the investment for both two teams, it felt like Gallerus were the ones coming out on top, but Godlike are the ones in control. 13 seconds to play for, the end of the first rotation incoming. If you're a Godlike fan, you're liking what you're seeing. Really good rotation out of them, which really just started at P1, P2, chipped away since then. Really, really good start to this hard point.
You could say you Godlike what you're seeing, you know?
All right, it's too easy that you probably shouldn't have done it.
Godlike feeling pretty good about themselves at the moment. 20 points to the good over Gallerus. You'll be very happy with the way the start of the hard point, I think especially, has gone thus far. Gallerus, really, the only good look they've had is that Fences hard point, which, to be fair, they did get a lot of time out, more than teams usually do. But you have to be careful. You don't find yourselves too deeply out of this game this quick. Godlike already amounting a lot of time on P1. Gallerus trying to desperately fight back through. Mihawk with a double up top. Of course, he was a player at the start of the day that had a phenomenal start on that Summit hardpoint. So if he can heat things up for Gallerus here, they'll be right back in this game.
Trying to get something going. I think the thing is, when you see a scoreline like this, you sometimes count the other team out far too early. We know that. I mean, we've casted many hardpoint games over, not just this season, but over the past, 10, 30 years with myself. So, I mean, that makes me feel old. But how many times you see teams come back, a full 60 gets this Gallerus team immediately back into this game. They're finding some good time at P1. The scrap time is there. The rotation is not. But if they can find a break, find a full 60, we've got a game on our hands.
Yeah, and that's never been more true than here on Hacienda, right? Hacienda kind of lends itself to these comebacks, if you will. All it takes is one good break, as you said, and then the follow-up hardpoint control, and you are right back in the conversation. Hell, I mean, Elevate showed us that at CDSI. So Gallerus still in for a chance. Never count them out, especially with how good of a team they are. But right now, Godlike are leading this conversation, and they're also leading hardpoint control as well. Backspawn still looking pretty good. Infiltration from Fokke with the R9. Not a lot of effectiveness with it, though. Gallerus are going to hit this run over and over again. They're going to run right into the operators of Godlike. On the other side, though, Mihawk with the claw. How much damage can you do? A second kill for Mihawk. Any more on the platter, it's good at the very least to get Gallerus in.
Yeah, there's the break with about 30 seconds remaining here on Garage. 80 seconds has now been broken. If they can pick up this decent amount of time here on the scrap, which is looking like it's going to pretty much be given to them by Godlike as the rotation over towards Fences starts to come through. Gallerus are closing that gap. And investing the Sparrow for the transition over towards the next hill. He is going to fall, though, so I wasn't too sure if that was remaining from the Garage Hill, but yeah, either way, a questionable investment if that was the case. But a bit of a split spawn here. Things are about to get very, very mixy when things do pop in 3 seconds over towards Fences.
I got to say here very quickly that Godlike, I really like the way that they played that off the back of that. They didn't invest too much in towards scrap time. They were trying to cut Gallerus off on the rotation for the middle of the map. So great map awareness coming out of Godlike, but now as we get towards the next hill, here we go. Godlike looking to hold on towards this hardpoint. Gallerus, though, they're starting to get the kills here, Tom.
Yeah, they were slow into this game, but they very much have went toe-to-toe with Godlike over the last 4 or 5 hills. Closing that gap ever so quickly. War Machine's out. The Annihilator was there for Lucas Jane as well, not quite operating at the same time now, but you did see the investment of the equalizers coming through, getting nothing, but everybody else from Gallerus is. 25 seconds remaining here over towards Fences. This was the start of the comeback and the start of their hard point on the previous rotation, and they are getting things going here as well.
Yeah, definitely feels like this is the hard point where Gallerus are feeling most comfortable right now. There's not a lot that Godlike have had to say. Neutrino will find one, but immediately you trade it on out here. With 10 seconds left, you're still going to hit this one if you're a Godlike. I mean, why not? You've got the back spawns. You've got a clear path towards the next hard point, but Gallerus are still winning the trades at the moment, and we said it, right? Gallerus can still come back into this hard point. Hacienda lends itself to it. Well, look at this scoreline. Gallerus now just 10 points away.
Streaks available for Lucas Jin. They're starting to come through as well, and Gallerus will need to still continue to be good. Things have slowed down for Godlike, but we know in the blink of an eye, the same can be said for them. They can find a full 60 and put this game out of sight, but Lucas Jin will find 2 out of nothing, as he just so often does, but Prevail equalizes out over towards the balcony side of Rock. It's very, very difficult to find a push. He's just going to try and linger around. Hen will find 2, but this is just where you do not want the enemy equalizer. He finds 2, the third there for the cut. Brilliant plays from Prevail. Godlike in control.
Godlike looking to bring this one home. They've let Gallerus back into the conversation. Now they need to silence them once more. And Neutrino being all sneaky, like waiting for the perfect time to strike. He's found it in behind. He's going to get some team shots in as Trunks is the one to finish off not just 2 kills, but the third as well. Gallerus now at the back of the spawn. Going to have to find a way back in towards the hard point. Abiz with the claw, keeping them at bay. 3 for Abiz. Look at the operators for Godlike. They want this hard point.
Invested extremely wisely. They find so much efficiency with everything they possibly could have there and get the reward for it. Nearly breaking 200 points. They pick up the majority of the time over towards P4. Gallerus get very, very little, but they will have the operators of their own, maybe a little bit sooner than Godlike will again. We will, of course, be heading towards another P2. Godlike can just win it here on P1. Very unlikely with how mixy it can be, and the fact that Gallerus have found a way through. This is really about the rotation over towards P2, though. Gallerus soaking up some valuable time. They need as much as they can possibly get.
Yeah. Cannot let Godlike get this time. You've got to fight for it. You're starting to win the gunfights as well. The ARs have definitely stepped it up a notch over the course of the last set. Lucasen, 2 kills shy of 40. Just Lucasen things, as per usual. Gallerus now looking for some kind of time here. Smokescreen is going to make things a little bit more difficult. Neutrino fighting for these kills in the middle of the map. He's going to get cut short by Lucasen. He will now hit that 40-kill mark, but Gallerus here, while they're fighting for this scrap time ton, Godlike, they've got the spawns for new. A good opportunity here to put this one away.
A lot of time picked up. Time that they needed. Godlike have very little, if anything, over towards P1, but what they have got for themselves is that rotation over towards P2. They are now in control, but look at the spawns over towards the backside. Is there a potential pinch being set up now? You can see the spawn out here for Godlike. This is the moment for Gallerus as they find a way through. Foki will find 2. Glenn is there to answer back, but here come the Annihilator from Lucasen. You're inside the point. Gallerus find the break. It's absolutely what they needed.
Yeah, you can still fight this one from the front as well here. Operators galore for Gallerus. 4 of them being invested in towards this point. Pabzera is just firing his War Machine pellets out, because why the heck not? But it's not actually doing anything. That's not where the players are. On the other side, though, it's all good because you've got Foke just watching this door. Gallerus now surely not about to take the lead away from Godlike.
Both of these teams have invested every single time so wisely. The stock market would be terrified of how efficient these two teams have been with these operators. It's phenomenal play from both of them, and they have both made it count. 20 seconds to go here on P2. It is going to be a lead for Gallerus as we head over to what has been their favored hill in over towards the fences, and could they finish it off here? It's been quite the comeback. I want to say they were 80 or 90 down at some stage. Godlike have really slowed down compared to their start.
I just don't understand how this has happened. Godlike just, I don't know, letting Gallerus back into the game. I mean, I know fences have been kind of part of that conversation, right? But that was a massive break for them. They're on that P2, and I think it's a hill will revisit at the end of the game if Gallerus are able to get this one done. But Predator Missile now coming down. Gallerus just 20 seconds away. Foke will double up here. Godlike starting to feel a little bit desperate towards this fence's hard point. They are going one by one. Neutrino's investment of the War Machine is huge. That's a double that will give them an entrance to the hard point.
Prevail will find a couple as well, and now here comes the investment from Godlike. We said how good they've been for both these two teams, and they are making it count. Trunks and Prevail starting to combine together at just about the right time. Godlike have been quiet, starting to come back into it. 30 seconds to go here, P3.
Yeah. Now going to be purified from Trunks as well. Godlike not going to be able to finish things here regardless of what happens, but this is a chunk of time you can't afford to give away to Gallerus. Gallerus now starting to heat up as well in the feed through Tin. Don't want to overinvest in this one. There goes Trunks down for the count. Gallerus winning the vast majority of these gunfights. This time is still worth fighting for a touch. That's a huge wave of gunfights though for Godlike, and now if you're Gallerus, just go new. Stop fighting for scrap.
They're trying to fight for it still. You can see they're very, very close. They're still going for it. This scrap time is going to matter little, but there is going to be a huge gunfight over towards the next hill. You can already see it on the minimap, and here it is, and it's going to be Prevail with the equalizer. The investment, again, has to be so good. Looking towards Gallerus, they are going to have something of their own. Can they find it?
Here we go, Pabzera with the investment through for Godlike. Just keep an eye on where these guys are spawning. You're going to know, surely Prevail's going to find one. Trunks will double up as well. Pabzera's War Machine amounts to naught. There's the kills for Godlike, just a second away from victory here. Gallerus fighting to find their way through towards the hard point. Mihawk will double up. They're looking to get the contest through. Henry Cat, can he do anything?
How can they manage to find a way through? They're still inside the point. Gallerus still contesting it. They now get themselves inside. Godlike need to try and find a way through. There are the kills, and there's the win. What a map number one between these two teams. Gallerus bring it back very, very quickly, and Godlike shut it down. The investment over towards P3 works out for Godlike. They get the dub and find themselves in the lead.
Woo! godlike. I mean, they were celebrating and they were getting hype, and fair play for clutching up towards the end of the game. I'll be honest though, I don't know if that's one of those ones where you've earned that, because you almost chuckled that game. There was like an 80, 90-point advantage or something like that. By the end of the first set, all Godlike had was the first Fences hardpoint. It felt like Godlike were going to run through them. And then Godlike, or Gallerus, excuse me, made this incredible resurgence. Second set, they looked much more assured. Godlike, I think, significantly less so. Man, if they would have lost that one, that would have been one of the biggest chokes here in COD Mobile history.
But we were saying about all the way through, it takes one good 60 from the opposition, who are quite far behind. In this case was Gallerus, and they found it. They got themselves well and truly back into this game. And then from that, they really did look like the team who were going to take it. It felt like the momentum was very much in their favor. But again, it felt like it was that game of cat and mouse when it comes down to the operators. It's like, okay, we're going to invest this time, you're going to invest this time. And it just felt like that last hill, both teams had some availability, and it worked out more for the side of Godlike. Really, you have to give a huge shout out to the equalizer that comes on through, I think, from Prevail. I mean, that is the difference maker in this game. And they're going to be letting them know about it. A huge win for Godlike in map number 1. And one that I would think you look at, Gallerus, their Search and Destroy looked fantastic in their game against Wolves, so they will be looking at that, as will Godlike. They will know when they're going into this game, Gallerus' Search and Destroy looks clean this week. So that is an important map number 1 win for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll talk about Search and Destroy in depth in a minute, but I will say I don't know if that Search and Destroy victory for Gallerus was Gallerus playing well or Wolves not adapting properly, but we'll get to that here in just a second. But as we look towards the scoreboard at the end of game number 1, Trunks going absolutely huge, 195 impact rating, 49 kills to his name, and over 90 seconds inside the hard point. I mean, I don't want to call him Mr. Do-It-All because the rest of the team were definitely contributing, but he did a damn lot.
I mean, you're looking over towards Lucas dropping 50 for the L. That's a tough one as well. Tough, it is tough, but it's nice to have that on your side. I mean, it's always nice to have a player like that on your roster. Either way, Godlike will take that one away. Of course, the guy's not playing here on the main stage. It's very much over in the pits, where things are really getting mixy down there. Every single time I see Beef Murray there, it's just shouts and screams. It's the old school line style, staring at each other down and well, yelling probably not very nice things. Irrelevant of that, it is going to be Godlike with a lead. And one that when you look at it on hindsight, if that Search and Destroy from Gallerus was so solid in that previous game, then it absolutely feels necessary that they did find that. Because now we go to a Search and Destroy that could go either way. But as mentioned, Gallerus did look extremely clean in their game up against Wolves.
Yes. Yeah, and I think the thing for me, right, was just, you know, we go back to that game between Gallerus and Wolves that you and I got to cast over, and it was a case of, you know, the first 3 rounds was kind of Wolves running all over them, or rather Peg running all over Gallerus. And I think as soon as Gallerus figured out, okay, that's exactly what's happening here, we can start to throw very different looks. We know kind of what we need to be focusing on in these defensive rounds, and Wolves just kind of felt like they didn't really respond. And that's why I say, I think to a certain extent, yes, fair play to Gallerus for doing what they were doing and adapting in the way that they did, but also it was uncharacteristic of Wolves to not have an answer to what Gallerus were throwing at them for the last, like, what, 7 or 8 rounds straight?
There was no plan B. They slowed it down, Gallerus, and it started working out for them. Let's see how they do it in this one, though. I think, you know, when you think of the style of the team, they probably do want to keep it nice, fast, and furious. That's kind of the way that they do play, but with that adaptation, they looked really good in the Search and Destroy. Let's find out if it's going to be the case here as well. We still got plenty of games to go tonight, though. I mean, this is the little bonus one that we were going to get a hold of, just because purely some of the games just were, some of them were going some distance, and it was taking some time to get through it. Now we get this extra bonus one. We've got 3 more to come after this as well. We are going through very, very nicely. But this one's been an insane one so far. The rest of the maps can be just as close as that. I'd be a very happy boy.
I'd be happy as well. I mean, look, the thing is with champs, right? The thing is with the teams here, and I think a lot of people have said, I believe that this is the most competitive Call of Duty Mobile Championships we have ever had, and I think that that's kind of the opinion everybody has for the most part, and for good reason. I mean, there just hasn't really been many games at all that have been uncompetitive, right? The ones that have, I think, were the teams that kind of had to make last-minute changes. You know, we had like Ancient getting kind of trounced by Vitality earlier on today, and that's kind of to be expected somewhat. So, look, for the teams that came in as the teams that they should be, it's been competitive, and this is one of the most competitive matchups we could have asked for. Next up, though, we've got Kurahana Metropolis, and this is one of the newer additions here to the Call of Duty Mobile competitive map pool. I think it's taken a while for teams to figure it out properly, and I think, you know, one of the most important things here coming into this one is going to be the presence of the sniper rifle players. And earlier on today, we saw that Lucasin was doing some pretty nasty stuff with his on firing range.
Yeah, no surprise. No surprise at all. Yeah. Let's see if he can bring it to the table here. He will have to. I think, you know, this is... I feel like the one-on-one games are super important because you put yourself down to that no more lives situation.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you really want to keep a hold of them as long as possible. You don't want to be going 0 and 2, absolutely, but 1 and 2 again puts you in that awkward little position. Some of those 1 and 2 games are going to be super tough. I mean, you're seeing some of the other teams that are coming through from the 0 and 2 games. Exclusive are going to be there. I think, of course, we're going to have Animus down there as well. The EU represent. Animus didn't look too bad. We were kind of getting a little bit excited in the green room. It's not very often as European COD Mobile fans we get that opportunity. So it was nice to see Animus putting up a fight. Let's see how they go on and do out throughout the rest of the day. But relevant of that, Karan coming up here in the Search and Destroy. Both these two teams well versed in the art of S&D. Which way this one is going to go, I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, I think based off map number 1, yeah, really good performance. Like, it's important that they found that. But what we've seen from Gallerus today in terms of Search and Destroy is promising.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I mentioned the sniper rifle of Lucasin on the side of Gallerus. For Godlike, I'm expecting Abyss to do bits. Right now, though, at the start of this, the opening trades are definitively in favor of Gallerus. An early hit from Godlike towards B has gone all right. And I love this reaction from Godlike. You don't have the numbers to recommit towards a site. Back away. Think about it, you've got a lot of time to play in this round.
In a good position now. If you're on the side of Gallerus. 4 versus 2 scenario. It's a hard one to lose, especially if Lucasin's going to find another. So now you've got Neutrino left in a 1 versus 4. Tough situation.
Yeah, I just don't know why you'd go back towards the site. There's no real reason to. You're kind of just getting over aggressive there for no reason. Gallerus aren't going to move away. To be fair, Mihawk is going to get aggressive for Gallerus. I think they can kind of afford that, though, considering they're in a 4 versus 1. You take that trade all day long. You now know more or less where Neutrino is positioned, and you'll reposition yourselves accordingly. Neutrino, 1 versus 3. Let's see if you can get it done.
It's so tough. You don't have anything to help you here. If you're Neutrino, you would need to find the ace. Just super difficult position. Really good start here from Gallerus. Are more than likely going to find this round. Neutrino is going to have time to go around and get a hold of that bomb with 25 seconds to go. The shot is going to whiff from Lucasin. That's not something you say very often. But Foki will not want to 0 now to Gallerus.
And I'm always surprised in a way, right, that they didn't just take the bomb straight for a rotation. Maybe they were hoping that, hey, we're going to go straight for the rotation, bait Gallerus, excuse me, into rotating away towards A, but Gallerus just didn't even fall for it even slightly. So if that was the play call from Godlike, it was not the best one. Godlike now, though, on the offense. Different look, straight towards A, through the cut. Mihawk, how much damage can they do? That is a big pick from Prevail at the start of the round.
Slow them down. The opportunity now, Lucasin and Pabzera once again. The snipers on this map, just so influential, and they're getting the job done right now. Hen's going to find another automatically. 4 versus 2 in favor of Gallerus.
And it just needs to prevail in such an awkward spot, right? You've got to get this bomb out. You're not even focused on getting a kill here. You've just got to try and get this bomb away towards your teammate. There could be a bit of COD timing on your side, perhaps, but you've got to win this opening gunfight versus Pabzera. There's the side chow, and that's unfortunate. You've got a 9-9 in your hand, buddy. You've got to win that gunfight all day long. Trunks is not even going to try to finish the 5 versus 5, apparently. And that's another round on the board here for Gallerus.
Really good defense so far. Holding it down. These snipers are doing damage. They're giving them the number advantage, and that is working out fantastically. Let's see if they can keep this up. I think first blood's going to be super important, as it usually is. Those opening salvos really been working out, but this time around, Gallerus completely different. Look towards their defense, straight out the mid-map, and just happy to go toe-to-toe, and it's kind of worked out here because Godlike are already here as well. But pinned back into their spawn, that's the problem now for the attacking team. It's hard for them to get out of this position.
Yep, I think that's the play call from Gallerus, right? Even if you lose a body in this situation, you force Godlike to not even make a look towards either of these sites at this point. And now I think the next step for Gallerus is do not get over-aggressive yourselves. Foke still a lot to do, though, 1 beat. Got help from Mihawk in close proximity. Henry Cat's going to get Trunks elsewhere. Foke, tag on towards Learn. Learn should Scarpa here, try and get away with his life, and they do. So you get some information, but again, that problem that you can't get on towards sight still remains. Learn will find 1. Second kill on towards Foke. No, not going to happen. Not when Foke has an R9 at close range.
Yeah, that was a big gunfight. If Learn wins that, all of a sudden you've got a potential 3 versus 1 on site. As it goes, though, you now have a 2 versus 4 that is becoming more and more difficult as time goes on. Prevail left all alone. Gallerus looking to find themselves their 3rd round in a row. It is very much on its way. A very solid performance here in the Search and Destroy so far. Looking fantastic. Honestly, outside of the first few rounds up against Wolves today, their Search and Destroy has been absolutely flawless. Can they continue with though? 3 to the good now.
Then the objective.
They're just being so oppressive to Godlike. It really does feel like the key to victory here in Kurahana so often is winning your opening sniper battles, and Godlike really haven't been able to do that. Abiz has been totally silent so far through the first 3 rounds. Can they get anything done here? Smoke's going to give them the coverage. They run right into Lucasin. Why are you going for the over-aggression there? You know that there's going to be a player all the way back. Learn then kind of stuck as an island. Henry Cat's going to take advantage of that all day long. Finally, though, Abiz is on the board. Pabzera looks to take control of the lane. Abiz will take control of that.
Heads up play from Abiz, though. Knows a couple of kills coming over that other side. Knows that Gallerus are probably going to try and take a little bit more map control. Catches him off guard, and all of a sudden we'll see Pabzera right in round number 5. There's another kill though, Hen will find it. He's really been having a lot of fun over this side of the map. A has been locked down entirely. Godlike have actually managed to find a little bit of timing somewhere though. Trunks is going to find himself behind one player. Doesn't expect Lucashin behind him at that stage though. Ships in the night. Speeds will find that, but that's not going to be enough. Gallerus will find their 4th in a row. This is dominant so far.
And that was probably the best look that we've seen from Godlike thus far in this Search and Destroy. They're at least giving a different look to Gallerus. I think that's the closest Godlike have gotten to getting the bomb down, to be fair. Having a good look, but I think just slight over-aggression early on in the round, getting in positions you don't really need to be in. It's not working out for Godlike thus far. Gallerus going for, once again, an aggressive look towards B. Through the middle cut here. A lot to do if you're Fokke. Gets overwhelmed by 2 players, but one of those will fall by way of trade. Henry Cat able to double up on B as well. So numbers once again favoring Gallerus.
Seems to be well and truly in control of this one. The 3 versus 3 on the cards. Oh, there it was. Neutrino will get taken down almost immediately. And now again, you're left all alone. You're throwing your hands up, brother. You're not happy about something.
I just feel like it's so scattered from Godlike. There's no timing here. It's so unlike them. And I don't know. I don't know, dude. It's just, it feels like Godlike, this, I know that they're not playing with their full regular 5-man roster as it were, right? Skull Guys it here, but right now what we're seeing from them is just the timing. You could have timed that way better and hit it at the same time, but they just didn't. Gallerus, I mean, they'll take advantage of that all day long. I mean, that's what's been happening so far.
One of the streams, Vitality up 1-0 against Tribe. It's big map number 1 for them as well as it was for Godlike. Q9 taking on 4 Magic as well over on Charlie. You can keep an eye on that on the other streams, but this one, well, if you're a Godlike fan, you might want to tune out just for a couple of minutes because, well, maybe not. Maybe they get their first one on the board. Pabzera is left on his own in a 1 versus 2, making a 1 versus 1. This is a huge opportunity for Godlike to get on the board.
Big play there from Trunks. Now the 1 versus 1. Sniper should be good for Pabzera. He's going to whiff the first shot, whiff the second as well. First time the charm. No, Learn's getting some shots in. That might make Pabzera rethink this. Go away for the reposition here. Switch away towards the Fennec. And Learn's not going to expect that he's got this in his hand. Instead, Learn's just going to go for the bomb plant.
It's a game of cat and mouse. Learn will find a way out, and he has spotted him though, and Pabzera, as you said, Learn will not be expecting this. He's just trying to throw the shoulders, trying to take his time. Time 19 in hand here for Learn, but they're just going to do a ring around the rosy. Both players getting the timing, working out here for Learn, but the gunfight does as well. It's the first round on the board for Godlike. Gallerus eventually do bleed. 1 versus 1 is what it took. Well played from Learn.
Well played from Trunks as well, I want to say. That would have been a round for Gallerus without a shadow of a doubt if it weren't for Trunks finding that route through the middle of the map and picking up a couple of kills that gives Learn the chance for the 1 versus 1. So Godlike now on the board as we switch sides here. Let's see what their defense is like. It is just as aggressive, if not more so than Gallerus. But look at this. This aggressiveness coming through. Prevail's going right deep into the offensive spawn. You have to be careful about doing this because you can very often find yourself in a position where you're going to end up favoring the offensive side.
Don't want to back him into a corner too much. There's a metaphor in there somewhere, but irrelevant. We'll try and not dig that one out too early in the tournament. He's holding down the angles here. In fairness, we've got, like, you know, that's just a really, really poor attacking side from them. They would have liked a couple more, but defensive side you would favor on this map in particular. But to the tune of 5-1, I'm not 100% sure you'd be happy with that if you got like, here comes the aggression. No, Lucas's going to have to back on down 7 kills to his name. He's looking to add to that tally. Pabzra can add to his. If he can find a second here as well, that would be phenomenal. Doesn't get it. Lucas's there for the trade, though. Continues to survive. Doesn't get the shot. And it's going to be Foki left now in a 1 versus 2. And I don't think they'll be aware of his positioning here whatsoever. The big flank coming on through here, Brody. This is not readable.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to know that he's on this side of the map because obviously he just picked up a kill, but in terms of which bomb he's actually gone to, they'll soon know, because as soon as they see that A is clear, they should know it's B. The question for me is how quickly Fock is going to get this Brock down. Because if he does it quick enough and gets himself in a position, he could get some good timing, but with 25 seconds left here, his options are limited. You got to make a decision fast. If you're rotating, do it now. If not, get back to B and get yourself in these gunfights.
Neutrino spots him out. And that just makes Foki's job so much more difficult.
It's not over yet.
Finds the kill. Another round over towards the side of Godlike. And again, look, I think when Gallerus were taking on Wolves, it was a game of 2 halves, especially when it comes down to the defensive and attacker side. Could that be the case here? Can Godlike find a way back? They find a couple more rounds, things start getting a little bit scary. Grenades and code going out, trying to find something with the utility as Gallerus starting their position again. Very, very deep into their spawn once more here, Brody. Didn't work out last time. The second time the charm.
Gallerus just waiting for Godlike to get over aggressive hit. Nade over the top. Should connect on towards Hen. Oh my god, Hen is so weak right now. You can barely see his health bar. He's incredibly fortunate that need to take him out of the round. But if you're Godlike, you've got information now. Nade on towards Trunks. Doesn't actually connect here, but Foke's R9 will. So Gallerus slowly but surely progressing towards the A site. If you're a Bees, you need help.
It's a big round for Gallerus if they can find it. Godlike need to slow them down. You do not want them to be on match point. Starting to make a bit of a squeeze here over towards A. Dangerous now for the side of Godlike. Oh, but you've got to win that gunfight if you're Buggy. You've got to manage to clean him up if you can. Beast does get taken down. 2 versus 4 in favor of Gallerus. They should be able to get this bomb down shortly. Here comes Mihawk behind them as well. This is a very, very solid attack from Gallerus. It just worked out so well. They win the gunfights where they need to. They flank at the right time. And Gallerus find themselves 6-2 from the gun.
Just slowly chipping away at the Godlike defense there. Winning that opening gunfight, I think, was just everything Godlike. I mean, they were quick enough on the reaction, right? They brought players over towards the site, but still, teamwork was not as good as they would like. Gallerus will take advantage now on a map point here. They're going to tie the series up at 1-1. For Gallerus, it has just been so slow on these offenses. A lovely hit from a Bees. He will find the kill, but the trade is also good from Pabzera, so you kind of have to wonder, was that really worth it?
Very much a sacrificial lamb at that stage, wasn't it? I think he knew he'd probably get traded. Would have had to take some kind of whiff from there for that not to get traded out. Either way, these 2 teams still very even across the board. 4 versus 4. See, Gallerus already, I mean, it's been a similar scenario for them. They're happy to play really slow on their attacks. They're happy to take their time. Sometimes can be punished for that on Kurahana, but right now it's working out for them. They are 1 round away at Godlike. A minimum of 6 rounds needed at this stage. Push over towards B, starting to become an option here for Gallerus now. You can see Godlike are here with 55 seconds to go, but this next gunfight could be huge. It's going to be found. Lone Wolf drop. Prevail's there for the trade. 3v3.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is Prevail playing his life. Surely he does not get away in this situation. Surely not. No, he doesn't. Pabzera with a brilliant trade, though. Still, Godlike looking to capitalize. Big trade from Trunks will bring this down to a 2 versus 2. And I still feel like Neutrino could put the numbers further in their favor if he gets some good timing. Gallerus are looking for a way out here. Do they find it? No, team shots are good. From behind, though, Neutrino spraying and praying for that final kill will bring it to a 1 versus 1.
Because he's seen them on the B site and then pushed them out. He knew that they were going to be going onto the cross. They find one before Lukashin can find another. He's got the read on him. Neutrino knows exactly where Pabzera is. At this stage, it at least feels like he should be able to find it. This is a round for Godlike. Big plays coming in from Neutrino. 6-3. Starting to close that gap.
Oh, sweat off the brow for Godlike there. Able to win the 1 versus 1, keep themselves alive in this search and destroy. Hopes of 2-0 in Gallerus. still on the cards. Aggression here from both sides. Going to hit the bomb. Double blind here towards B. Godlike have numbers, but it does not matter to Mihawk and Henry Cat. The Cats, he will double up. Trunks will fire back 2 of his own. Now just a 1 versus 3 here for Abyss.
Needs to find it to stay in the search and destroy. Or control beckons.
Bomb has been planted.
Gallerus played this game very passively on their attack throughout the majority of the game, and now they're starting to play passively as they get away from the bomb that they have now planted. Tabs are going to go for the challenge. Beast finds another. Mihawk is there to just about solidify it, and the series is all tied up in the blink of an eye. The search and destroy just about goes Gallerus' way, but a 1v3 was nearly on the cards. It was not to be, and they find the search and destroy. The strong workload in this game mode continues.
Dude, Abyss, that attempt at the 1 versus 3. I tell you what, that was aspirational.
Get traded though, come on.
Yeah, it was aspirational is the word I'd use to describe Abyss's attempt there towards the end. That's not happening though. That was a phenomenal start to the search and destroy for Gallerus. Just really brilliant. And I think, you know, just the way they were so oppressive on the defense was just brilliant. I don't think there was ever really a response from Godlike. There were certainly attempts. I think that round number 4 hit towards the B site was a pretty good one, but even that went awry as they went too deep in towards the site. For the most part though, Gallerus' defense was rock solid. And then you went to the other side, and I think this Gallerus were much better at playing as a team on the offense, making sure they knew the exact times to hit the opposition and get control of the sites. Godlike, I think, just outpaced in search and destroy. And kind of bringing it back to that conversation point you already brought up there, mate, was that, you know, Gallerus have actually been pretty good at search and destroy. It feels like it's something they've definitively worked on. We already knew they were good at control from the Latin America Snapdragon Pro Series, so work on your search and destroys because you're going to need that against the best of the best here in the champs.
Find it. Big game coming in from Hen again, and he was a real big reason why they won the first game of the day as well in terms of their search and destroy and firing range, putting up impressive numbers once more. 1 apiece between these two squads now as we head into a map number 3, which is unsurprisingly not Seaside after the performance we've seen from Gallerus previously. We're very much moving away from that. It's looking like we're going to be going over towards Arsenal, I believe. So that'll be super interesting between these two squads, who are evenly poised as we head into a final map. And again, this is, to remind you guys, it's a big, big game. You go to 1 and 2 if you lose this game. You only have 1 more opportunity to, well, give anything else away. You don't want to find yourself in that spot. Winner will advance, of course, to that 2-1 bracket, which puts you in a good position. It's very much, these are the kind of games that really do. It's sink or swim at this stage.
Yes.
You really don't want to put yourself in that awkward little spot. Not quite out, but no lives remaining is not a good place to be in.
Just imagine, right, and we're kind of talking ahead of time here, right? This might not happen, but hypothetical is what we're looking at right now. But imagine you're a Godlike, right, and you go all the way towards Grand Finals last year, and you get to the Swiss stage, you lose this matchup, you go 1 and 2, you get to the next matchup, you lose that, and you're done in Swiss. Imagine the storylines here if that were to happen. Again, I know it's hypotheticals, it probably wouldn't happen. I don't know who they would face. I don't know who Gallerus would face next, but either way, it is terrifying to be in that position, to potentially lose your next matchup and be out.
That's the scary point. Still going to come down to an Arsenal control. Probably my favorite control map. Well, it's definitely my favorite control map.
I like it.
I mean, I think Raid is there with it, but Arsenal, I think, just plays a little nicer for me. I know that's probably a little bit. I shouldn't really say that because Raid is classic. It is a classic.
Raid is, right. I think Raid is objectively the best Call of Duty map of all time. I think that's like undeniable, like competitive Call of Duty map. I know people are like, Town, but no, it is the best competitive Call of Duty map of all time. My personal favorite is Standoff, but I know that's a personal thing. But Arsenal is very good. I know that Proper will be smiling ear to hear the sound of a Black Ops 4 map being considered one of the best maps ever. But yeah, it is just really fun. And I think the players have got a hang of it as well. Certainly with the spawn traps, it's so frustrating to deal with it. If you're on the receiving end of a spawn trap here on Arsenal control, it can be damning. I mean, we literally just saw it in the last series, right, with Luminosity, with Raf getting there with the equalizers. I think Animus were not happy about that.
Yeah, but how many times have we seen teams just over-try to do the spawn trap? You can be overzealous with it, and you can really be punished for it. You have to do it at the right time. A lot of people think, oh, okay, well, it's a spawn trap, so okay, is it indicative of skill? You have to do it at the right time.
Yeah, I think part of that, right, with the conversation around spawn traps is the decision you make when you go for a spawn trap is that you're expecting to get the kills to put the teams in the spawn trap. If you don't, you're losing a man for map control, right? You've not got somebody on the map. That's less pressure, and it can definitely come back to bite you. We've seen it a lot. For these two teams, though, final map here for one of these two teams. It's about to be a 2-1 record. For the other one, they've lost their last lifeline.
Which way is this one going? I've got no idea, Brody, to be honest with you. Answering my own questions. It's so difficult to separate these two squads right now. Gallerus have found themselves with a very decent push over towards A almost immediately. You can see B is trying to make a bit of a flank already. He will be trying to get that squeeze if he can. He needs his teammates to start winning a couple of gunfights, and they will very much answer that question and find them themselves. And Yoke will find a way through, though. The pressure's still here.
Yeah, spawn trap starting to be put together here by Godlike. It's Abiz who's doing it, and I think at the moment, even if this isn't a spawn trap from Abiz, it is just kind of a distraction play. Abiz is winning those gunfights, by the way. He picks up, I think, at least 3 kills on that effort, and the one player that Gallerus were looking to get in behind enemy lines is also going to get cut down. So for Godlike, all things are looking pretty good at the moment. Gallerus, just 40 seconds to get something going here. It's a straight beeline